For more analysis, we now move on to Mona Masalhi in our newsroom. To you, Mona.
Right, thank you so much, Riham. And for further analysis, we're joined from Nadarith by political science professor Dr. Sohail Diab. Good evening to you, sir, and welcome to Q News. Let me start by asking you how or what you have on the repeated Israeli attacks on Lebanese territory.
Good evening, and good evening to the viewers. First, these repetitive attacks on South Lebanon and the rest of the Lebanese regions, and even outside, including Gaza, it's a reflection on the message that Israel wants to communicate. First, that the security aspect to the Israeli borders, whether with Lebanon, Syria, or Palestine, will be under complete Israeli control, and only Israel decides what happens on these border areas. Israel wants to impose a new de facto, saying that they can work on with military means whenever they want, however they want. And this equation, this new de facto, what needs to be established by Israel, but they are not very successful for different reasons. Not only due to the Arab world stance from these aggressions and the Arab governments and the Arab Islamic Conference, but also due to the different of situations taken by the West and Western countries, and as well as a lot of deliberations now taking place in the United States. The second aspect of these hostilities lies in the Israeli will to demonstrate to the Israeli public as is that it is an independent state, as there is a lot of discussion inside Israel that Netanyahu sold the Israeli independence to the United States and that he's doing whatever Trump wants. And now he is accused of transforming Israel to a U.S. territory in the Middle East, and he wants to highlight one way or another. If you have noticed his statements recently, Netanyahu has been stressing that Israel is an independent state and does not belong to any other entity, and that they do not do what America dictates. The second point is that this operation escalates the tensions from the far right officials. These escalations were directed towards Netanyahu, especially that they are heading towards early elections, whether in October 2026 or in the spring of 2026.
Do we expect a return of war in Lebanon? And how can Lebanon respond to the Israeli hostilities? Can the Lebanese army respond to Israel's ceasefire violations?
On the first point of the question, will this lead to a full-scale war between Israel and Lebanon? To my estimates, this will not happen, because Israel wants from these attacks, they want to create some times of turmoil inside the social fabric of Lebanon. They only want to have some parties from the government contradicting Hezbollah and opposing them, even if they head to a civil war. This is what Israel wants. Whether that by the Israeli army or the Israeli government, and that's why Israel wants now to pressure the Lebanese government to push it towards a confrontation between the government and the military on one side and Hezbollah on the other side, under the motto of unifying the weapons of the resistance at the hands of the state. What I rely on that Lebanon will not go to a full-scale war, that Israel has so far not moved the Jewish settlers to the Jalil area next to Lebanon. And previously, when they wanted to launch a large operation, they evacuated residents at the border area. The second indicator is that the military preparedness is not indicating any preparation to war, saying that Israel is preparing for a full invasion on Lebanon. Those two indicators point out that Israel is not going to a full-scale war. It's only an attempt to have the final points between the US and Lebanon for the best interest of Israel taking full security control over the entire region.
How will Hezbollah respond to what is happening in southern Lebanon from your point of view?
What is happening in southern Lebanon is continuing the Israeli violations, that is now 4,500 violations till this moment. Thousands of violations were recorded by the United Nations and the UNIFIL forces. Israel, in addition to this, wants to provoke a response. They are now waiting for a military response from Hezbollah. In my estimate, there will not be such a response. What is going to happen is an internal discussion between Hezbollah, as we have seen the open book of the three presidents, which is published by Hezbollah for the three presidents, the prime minister, the president of the state, and the speaker of the house, which was very sharp and unprecedented in this regard, saying clearly that there will be no talk about the resistance weapons with any other party other than the Lebanese government. The second point stated in this book is that there will be no negotiations with Israel before the full withdrawal from the 6 points they are taking control over in South Lebanon. So, in my opinion, there will be a media propaganda escalation and strengthening the Lebanese understandings to influence the U.S. stance to change their mind that Israel shall carry out its part regarding the 1701 resolution, which says the arrangements taken by the military to control the South Lebanon region, and then Israel withdraws from all the points that they have security control over, and then the discussions proceed regarding the demarcation of the land borders and talking about other things related to the 1701